I'm going to show you how Mira's Brush's unique progression system encourages replayability, creates dynamic difficulty settings, and streamlines both completionist and speedruns. Now, when I started Mira's Brush, I wanted to create something that would be fun to complete at 100%, but would also be easier to complete for those who just want to skim through the game and take on the last boss. To accomplish this, I needed to create systems that made it easier for either type of gameplay to work. I wanted to make backtracking painless and constantly provide the player with new things to discover and new incentives for finding those secrets. I also needed to do this simply and on a budget, with me being the only coder, the only developer. Now, Mira's Brush is not a Metroidvania, but there are elements that encourage returning to previous levels. In each level of Mira's Brush, you need to color in certain key areas in order to proceed. When you get to the end rainbow, for example, there are 5 colors to color that rainbow, and you can continue on having colored only one of them. But if you color all 5, you get more progression points, or rainbow power. Each level also has 4 uncolored elements that the player can color with any color they choose, and a sacred statue that requires specific colors, in most cases 2 colors, but as the game progresses, some of these get more and more colors to color in. As you move through the game, each level requires a different level of rainbow power, and I tried to keep the levels low. So if you just want to go through the levels quickly, you don't need a lot of rainbow power. You don't need to find every secret. But if you want to find some of the extra levels and extra challenge areas, you're going to need to collect quite a lot of rainbow power to get through there, which means collecting levels to 100% and replaying some of those stages. My 100% completion is well over 30 hours. My 6-hour gameplay is also a lot simpler. I choose easier paths, I choose easier levels, I go for where I know, as the creator, that there are the easiest possible secrets to collect. You don't have a lot of stuff slowing you down. While there's a few cutscenes you can usually skip through dialogue, you can even skip the opening cutscene once you've seen it once. You can buy a few items that will help you speed through the game more quickly, and the game continually keeps track of how many points you've got, how much time you've spent, and what percentage of completion you have for each stage, both in the level and outside of the level, and for the game as a whole. There's also a dynamic mapping system that keeps track of where secrets you've already collected may be and numbers them so that you know if you're missed secret 1, where approximately you might find secret 2. Finally, there are shortcuts you can access if you defeat certain levels. Each world has its own boss, and each boss has a color crystal. When you collect these color crystals, you get the ability to access areas that you weren't able to access earlier. But you don't need to get any of these crystals just to get to the end of the game. It's up to the player to decide how they want to progress and how much of Chromaland they want to recover. As you go through the game, you'll find that there's different rewards for different levels of completion. Not only do you find levels that you couldn't access otherwise, you also access additional content, bonus crowns, paintings that reappear when you defeat certain levels, bonus areas, and optional bosses. You also get different unlockable costumes, unlockable hats. You can also unlock different juggling idle animations, which don't require a certain amount of rainbow power, but do require a bit of cash. As you beat levels, you get more tickets. Now, one of the things I had to add to make traveling through the levels seamless is some way to backtrack that wasn't too irritating or complicated, especially because there are some tricky jumps separating you from your various checkpoints throughout the level. So what I did is I made the checkpoints within the level as fast travel points. You can warp between checkpoints instantly. This allows you not only to go back and collect secrets you weren't able to get earlier because you were just trying to get to the next checkpoint, it also allows you, if you have already beaten a level, to exit the level quickly once you've gotten a secret. You find a secret you didn't have before, you grab it, you warp back to the beginning, and you exit the level, and it'll save your progress. I I quickly realized that collecting one color at a time could be a little bit tedious, so I gave the players the option to unlock more color storage by selling the player optional palettes. If you want to complete the game to 100%, it's almost essential to get that 2-color palette. The 2-color palette is especially useful when you reach a sacred statue, as those statues may need 2 or more colors. If you can come in carrying 2 colors, you've already saved yourself some effort. The palette adds a little bit of that Metroidvania upgrade magic without the game fully being a Metroidvania. It's still a platformer, it's still pick up and play. You don't need to go back and forth collecting things to move forward, you just need rainbow power. In addition to the palettes, I also added a few items that will help players find secrets and survive on their trip. But to avoid the player having to go back and forth too often to farm tickets, and to make it more fun, I created some mini games that the player can do to get those tickets more quickly. However, each mini game is a bit of a gamble. You have to spend money to make money. I tried to avoid my mini games being too luck-based, as I'm not a fan of gambling mechanics in games. Instead, the games are all skill-based, but provide a somewhat more relaxing break from the challenging platforming of the rest of the game. They're all references to previous games in history, but with their own color-based twist. To sum up, I've given Mira's Brush some unique progression tricks that enable players to choose different ways to get to the end of the game and different levels of completionism. They have a baseline where they don't need a lot of points just to move forward. They can collect particular colors and unlockables to help get them to the end more quickly. There are fast travel checkpoints within levels and items that can make collecting 100% a lot more easy. It's all about creating open-ended gameplay while still giving some handrails so the player knows how to get from the beginning to the end and how to complete the game's story. I hope you've enjoyed this breakdown of Mira's Brush's progression system, and if you do like it, please check out the full game. There's a demo available on Steam right now, and depending on when you watch this video, the game may be available for sale already, so keep your eyes out, although I've changed the release date a couple times just to make a few more improvements. Finally, you can subscribe or hit a bell or whatever you like, and of course follow me on Twitter where I'm putting up screenshots and daily new chiptunes. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and if you get a chance, I hope you really enjoy Mira's Brush. Thank you very much.